Outgoing CIA Director John Brennan is strongly rejecting President-elect Donald Trump's suggestion that he may have been the one to leak an unsubstantiated report. They're calling it a dossier. He also defended the integrity of the spy agency, telling the Wall Street Journal yesterday, quote, "I would have no interest in trying to give that dossier any additional airtime. The feeling was wanting to make sure that, given the very salacious nature of it, the president-elect was at least aware of it, so he could take it into account and do what needs to be done." Let's bring in Lieutenant Colonel Alan West, a former Florida congressman and a Fox News contributor. Colonel West, good to see you. Your reaction to Brennan this morning pushing back.
Well, you know, one of the things that really does concern me in this period of transition, the last thing we need is this somewhat childish, immature back and forth going on. Because when I sit back and look at the intelligence framework and also what is happening globally, when was the last time we heard about what is going on in Aleppo in Syria? When was the last time we heard about what is going on in Raqqah, Syria, or Mosul, Iraq? When was the last time we heard about what is happening with the Taliban in Afghanistan, where they have made incredible strides? We know, if you want to talk about the economy and the flow of commerce, the fact that China is conducting these operations in the South China Sea, that should be a big concern for us. So I think that we need to have an intelligence community. We need to have a CIA director. We need to have a president-elect and his team that will focus on these key transition points and not these back and forth. But sadly, what happens is when you have the political aspect and talking points and the undermining of the incoming administration so critical for some people, they get away from what their primary focus should be right now. But I think that we need to have folks that are really focusing on what is happening in the world to make sure that we have a smooth transition from one administration to another, and we don't find ourselves getting caught with our pants down, which is something that President Obama talked about the intelligence community did, and that they did not see ISIS coming, which we kind of know is not a truth.
So, Lieutenant Colonel, this Mercedes, I think one of the biggest concerns we have is obviously how can President-elect Trump rebuild the relationship with the intelligence community? I think that's one of the bigger concerns that we have, knowing the fact that it has been a war on words between outgoing CIA Director John Brennan and Donald Trump.
Well, I think the most important thing is not make it a personal war on words. I think that you should be talking to those CIA operatives that are out there every day and letting them know that their contributions are so important. Remember, we had the report that came up from the United States Central Command where a lot of those intelligence operatives were saying that the reports they were sending up were being changed over. So they understand that something is happening at the upper echelon levels of the intelligence community, not down there where the men and women are doing incredible yeoman's work to make sure that we are safe and protected. So I think that Donald Trump needs to be talking to them.
Do you think, Colonel, it's Dagan McDowell, do you think, though, once Donald Trump is inaugurated this Friday, all of this is essentially his responsibility? And so what he's saying about the leadership now, does it really do that much damage to everybody who are career operatives or analysts in the intelligence community?
Well, I think that, you know, it's very important to, as you hear some people say, not punch down. The most important thing is if you're going to engage Mr. Brennan, tell Mr. Brennan to make sure that he is providing you the right intelligence and information so that we can have that smooth transition. And tell Mr. Brennan to make sure that he is working with the incoming CIA director, Representative Pompeo, to make sure that we have the focuses and the right priorities for the intelligence requirements that Donald Trump wants. And I think that's what he really should be talking about. What are his intelligence requirements? What are the priority pieces of information that he wants to know going forward? And I think that's what you should be communicating to the American people.
Yeah, you make a lot of good points, Colonel. Good to see you, sir. Thanks so much.
My pleasure.
Lieutenant Colonel Alan West there. Coming up.